a horrifying disaster that takes over the Sonic universe and spreads to beloved characters known by all. A virus that forces you to laugh as your flesh decays. And while pain and laughter spreads, others watch in horror as they wonder who will be next, or if they will be next. The Mimic Infection AU, made by LAC5HT, is a pretty interesting story. I've actually grown to like these alternate universes, and while they use similar templates, they all try to differentiate from each other just enough. I'll be explaining everything that's going on in the story, and if applicable, I'll say my own thoughts. This is everything that's out currently, but if you want to check it out yourself, it's linked down in the description below. Without further ado, let's jump into the worst case scenario. Day 1 shows us all the survivors currently alive and sets the tone for the story. Sonic here has been bitten by a flicky. For some reason, it was acting incredibly violent and he had to scare it off as he caught it devouring another flicky. So far, he's not doing too bad, but needs to find Tails. Tails was already exposed to what was happening and locked himself in his workshop after witnessing the chaos out on the streets. Not actual chaos, but the kind of chaos that's, infected monsters. He's pretty stressed out considering he has no idea what's causing this yet, and if his friends are okay. Gun has ordered everyone to stay inside at all times. They explain there's a new virus outbreak, and the best way to combat it for the time being is to self-isolate until they can resolve it. Knuckles, for once, is actually on Angel Island and has no idea what's going down below, but feels like something is off. Right now, though, he is thriving. Dude is at full health, and I'm sure this will stay consistent throughout the story. Amy is in Station Square and is fighting off Mobians. Not because she wants to, but because she has to. They're acting violent and unresponsive, forcing her to defend herself. It's also said they won't stop laughing. This is the unique aspect of this particular infection. You'll see it as it goes on. Eggman is in total lockdown mode, fully aware of the situation at hand. So far, he's doing fine, since he's not usually around people most of the time anyway. The only being he's around is Metal Sonic, and Metal Sonic is on high alert. Nobody will be able to come in unless they go through Metal. Gun has reports of a strange Mobian. The rest of the message is distorted, but it reads, Mobian, causing havoc and asking for any leads on the individual. Run, 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 and then it just repeats that. So not much to go off of on the first day. The art style so far is pretty nice, and I'm assuming this is the Mimic. I really like the unnerving aspect of this thing. It's almost like it's splitting apart with the effects that it has going on. It's staring right at you. Day 2 describes this being, and now we get a clear look at it. Ooze drips out of its finger, and I'm speculating that this is what's causing the virus. It's often seen in infected zones, wears a creepy mask, and looks blatantly evil. This thing is obviously the culprit. Gun hasn't ruled out Eggman entirely, but this time it's unlikely he had anything to do with this. Citizens must report to Gun if anybody witnesses this Mobian or seen its whereabouts. It's highly contagious, and making contact with it has resulted in infected soldiers. So the infection this time not only just infects Mobians, but humans as well. Something I feel is a little unexplored in these infection AUs is humans. Obviously, I think more people would care about Sonic and his friends, but Gun still has a role to play in the Sonic world. Next, we get to see Shadow, who's helping Gun contain the infected with his sick pistol. He also promised Amy he would help find Sonic, which is pretty wholesome. Day 3 has the two of them meet at a safe house to prepare to go out on their quest. Gun is keeping the situation in Station Square under control, but there are reports of increased areas of infection. which causes medical centers to be overwhelmed. Meanwhile, Sonic was able to make it to Tails, but had to get his arm amputated after finding out this was a virus. Luckily, he was able to stop it, but had to lose an arm to do so. He did get a cute little balloon from Cream, and I think that's actually really wholesome. Even with that, he's shocked at what's happening and is in shock. He almost became some sort of monster. Tails, meanwhile, is in a much better mental state despite the horror that lies outside. Tails has been working on a new arm for Sonic, which is an idea I haven't seen anywhere else, really. The Fox also continues to monitor the situation closely, listening in to news reports and over gun radio channels, and it's not looking too good. As we saw from Sonic's character sheet, Cream is here on day 2, but her reasoning for being here is quite sad. There is a quote-unquote disturbance at the Chow Garden, and Chow are sick and acting funny. Vanilla sent Cream to Tails while she quote-unquote handled the situation. It can only be assumed at this point the Chow are infected and the garden is no longer a safe haven. Cream is incredibly worried because she's not seen or heard from her mother, and Cheese is nowhere to be found. Given the next character sheet, we find out why. Gore warning for anybody who's kind of queasy to that stuff. Oh, Vanilla. Cream's mother tried to take care of the Chow, but didn't know they were infected. She had an inkling that there was a chance that they were infected, so for Cream's safety, she followed her motherly instincts and sent her away just in case the worst case scenario happened. Shortly after this, one of the Chow bit her and the infection spread rapidly. She got attacked immediately, moving her into stage 2. Her arm was torn off, a piece of her ear is gone, she grew claws, and won't stop laughing. Furthermore, Cheese is missing. But for those with a keen eye, a part of Cheese sits beside Vanilla as she continues to laugh. I'm really glad Cream doesn't see this, because imagine your own mother becoming a freakish monster who is laughing uncontrollably after killing your best friend. At least she has Sonic and friends. We skip to day 5, where it just shows us how the survivors are doing. Eggman is still in the egg carrier trying to develop a cure. He's got a little hazmat suit. So far, he's found out that the virus warps DNA and changes the genes at a molecular level, hence the mutation. Patients currently infected reside with him. Metal Sonic is still here and he's doing pretty good. There is a reference on his character sheet to the thing that he says, but instead of Sonic, it's nothing gets inside. You'll notice he's holding an arm that suspiciously looks like Vanilla's. And of course, Metal is immune to the infection, which in these AUs and stuff, he usually is, because he's not bioorganic, so perks of being a robot, I guess. Tails is researching how the infection works and watches over Cream because, yeah, he doesn't understand it yet, but he's making progress. Sonic has a cool new arm now though, and I like the way it looks. Now he has a very small resistance to the virus. Still possible for him to get it, but with his speed and precision, he has a better chance at survival. We catch the Mimic mid-breakdance here, and he's currently on Angel Island. Except he's not breakdancing, he's fighting Knuckles. Knuckles has been fighting this thing, and it seems it's trying to infect Knuckles and take the Master Emerald or get the Chaos Emeralds. Thank God Knuckles is on Angel Island. Day 6, and we get to see Knuckles in super form. Yes! I've never actually seen this done in Sonic horror media, at least not that I remember or know of. And Knuckles is now beating the strange threat, and he can't be infected while in Super. As for the infection down below, it spreads rapidly across Mobius, causing relentless chaos. The fight for Station Square rages on, and as of now, Gun has the situation under control. There is still no progress on a cure or treatment to slow the infection. Citizens are issued to stay inside and lock all doors. Gun will provide citizens with rations and medical care. It's said that chaos energy repels the infection, so I wonder if they can utilize the chaos and try to make a cure. Mimic has made no progress in its goal to acquire the emeralds, and due to the fight against Knuckles, his mask has been broken, exposing its true face. Rouge, meanwhile, has actually made it to Angel Island to warn Knuckles of the threat that is occurring. She is trying to convince Knuckles to let her move the emeralds away to a safer location with Gun, however, Knuckles is apprehensive. Rightfully so, because I think Gun is the last people you want to trust Chaos Emeralds with, unless it's with Shadow, then yeah, I would trust him. I think then it would be okay, but you actually find out why they should have done this a little later on. You'll just have to see how this comes back and bites them later. Sonic has made his way to Amy and Shadow, reunited to fight off the infection. As much as this is a relief to him, he can't help but to struggle with his moral compass. He feels guilt for having to put down infected, but understands they can't be free like they used to be. Shadow continues to push the infected back and has successfully linked Amy back up with Sonic. Shadow's been in contact with Rouge and sent her on a mission to Angel Island to acquire the emeralds. His arsenal is vast and deadly, but it has only done so much in pushing back the infected. Amy, now reunited with Sonic, feels more at ease and confident in the fight. She's taken it upon herself to wrap her arms and legs in protective wrap to protect against bites, scratches, and fluid. She continues to fight, but as this goes on, her mental state declines. As you guys can see, she has a tarot card, which says there will be a dark future ahead. This might be contributing to her declining mental state. The fight against the mysterious being rages on, and Knuckles has run out of energy from the Chaos Emeralds and is standing his ground against Mimic for as long as possible. He's not guarded by the emeralds, so he's having to watch his footing and punches. Just when Knuckles is sure he's a goner, Silver comes to the rescue through a ring portal and throws Mimic across the shrine. Yes, another Silver appearance, thank God. Rouge, in the meantime, went back to report to Gun and Shadow. Silver is from another timeline entirely, where Blaze was his mentor, but he seems keen on helping to fight the infection. It's also here the mask has fully slipped, and the monster's true face is revealed. While this is happening, Tails and Cream have left the workshop to go find Cheese and check on the Chow. Tails knows it can't be good, but it feels like Cream needs closure. Upon further investigation, most of the area outside the workshop is quiet and no signs of the infected or life at all exist within the area. Making their way to the Mystic Ruins and to the Chow Garden, they stumble upon something horrific. All of the Chow have been devoured and massacred, leaving nothing alive. The culprit of these acts is none other than Vanilla, who at this point has reached Phase 4 of the infection, rooted into the ground motionless, with nothing but a cold stare at the two of them. With no other choice, Tails charges his arm cannon and puts Vanilla down, telling Cream to look away. First of all, I feel like this was the absolute worst move for Tails to do. I get wanting to give Cream closure, but Tails is smart. He already knows what happened to Vanilla. I don't think that he shouldn't have killed Vanilla, that part is fine, but he should have gone by himself, in my opinion, and did what he had to do, or waited until they found a cure. Now Cream can grieve, but you also killed her mom in front of her. Her safest place was now laid barren, with the body of her best friends all scattered about. And Tails knew that this was likely the outcome. You killed her mom right in front of her too. Even if she wasn't looking, that arm cannon is pretty loud. Absolutely traumatizing, man. I do like how unique the infection is on how it infects people. The laughing, I feel, is a good touch and pretty unnerving. Also, Silver and the Mimic have ties to each other, likely because the Mimic destroyed his future. Alright, moving on to Day 8. The fight still rages on in Mobius as our heroes continue to struggle with containing the infection as it spreads rapidly. Reports are saying around 80% of the region has been affected as Gun continues to try and contain it. Their numbers are spread too far and too thin to keep up. With news of the situation on Angel Island, Sonic and Amy are making their way up the coast to the floating island. Battling hordes of infected Mobians and Flickies, it has been no easy task, but as a team, it goes much smoother for the duo. I really like this character sheet. Amy looks a little embarrassed here, and it's nice to see something wholesome after what happened. So far, they seem to be doing okay. A little stressed, which is understandable. It's either likely due to guilt and their sanity is depleted a little. I can also see them being stressed for each other's sake, but they're doing good so far. Upon making it to the island, they wonder why Silver was back. Did this thing affect his timeline? With the infection spreading near and far, the Chaotix have been doing their own work to help with the situation. After their apartment was burned down in a fire in Westopolis, they were short on funds and took a job for Hexaco. With promises of food and a place to sleep, the team has been guarding the HQ and city of Grand Metropolis. However, Vector has been missing for over 48 hours, and as you would expect, he's infected. SBO is quite worried for his friend and continues to watch Charmy closely while they go on patrols, yet his unease is starting to become very apparent to the immature Charmy, causing lots of stress between the team. Meanwhile, E123 Omega is being an absolute menace, destroying literally everything to ensure protection. Omega continues to patrol and work with Gun, sporting incendiary rounds and a flamethrower, effectively burning all the infected to ash and dust. Omega's main mission right now is to cleanse all infected and find the source of it to destroy it, repeating the words burn. People are all out of panic, worried for their friends and family. Meanwhile, Omega is having a field day, burning through infected Mobians. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm glad to see him here. Poor Charmy and SBO though. Vector seems to get infected quite a bit in these stories. Day 9 shows Metal Sonic successfully fighting off a swarm, and Eggman has found a way to slow the virus. Not quite stop it, but this is progress. Tails is still dealing with the guilt of Mercy killing Vanilla, and Cream won't talk to him at all. Furthermore, Cream has been acting strange. She's delirious and aggressive, but if you'll notice, her stress and sanity are literally gone. She's likely hallucinating due to extreme grief. Who would have expected this, Tails? Silver continues to fight the Mimic, and is of course immune to the virus. It's confirmed Mimic did destroy the Hedgehog's timeline, and he's here to stop him once and for all. Mimic is honestly pretty horrifying and has called upon the infected to help him fight. Knuckles is currently being a bum as he's too weak to fight. It's almost like he's been fighting for days on end. Tisk tisk, man. He does hear a voice pleading for help, which turns out to be the fusion of Tikal and Chaos. They fuse together after being sealed away, and she has come back to fight the power that threatens the Master Emerald. Sonic and Shadow have also made it to Angel Island, but they're a bit late. The Mimic has made its way to the shrine, reaching the emeralds, and the heroes are unsure of what happens next. Sonic, afraid of being infected, still marches on to fight the Mimic. Amy becomes reckless as stress and guilt take over her body as she attempts to attack the Mimic blindly. Upon arrival, Shadow attempts to use Chaos Control, but can't tap into the power of Chaos for an unknown reason. So he resorts to the American style, pulls out his pistol, and tries to get a clean shot on the Mimic. But it doesn't exactly work out. Now, if Knuckles couldn't beat him, I'm sure a gun could help. It's worth a shot though. Nothing they are throwing at it seems to work. Knuckles and Silver are too worn out to put up a fight, holding Mimic off for days and has drained them of all their energy. Eggman arrives on the landing strip of Tails' workshop, or what's left of it at least. He rummaged through debris of the shack, finding Tails burnt and unconscious in a critical state. The doctor has brought him up on the egg carrier and intends to treat his wounds. There was no remnants of any other life at the shop, so you'll notice that Tails has some black ink on him similar to the virus. I'm assuming Cream had something to do with this, or another infected slipped in while all the others were fighting. Or Tails caused an explosion to make sure that the infected couldn't get out. We have no idea. Maybe Tails didn't want to be alive for this anymore, but regardless, seeing Eggman care about Tails is curious. I would think he wouldn't want Tails to lose because he's not going to be outdone by some virus. If he was going to lose, he would be outsmarted by Eggman. But in this, he cares a little more for the fox. Hopefully, we can see Tails pull through as we set up for the final battle. And holy shit! Jump scare, Dark Sonic is here. Man, I have missed this transformation. He's achieved this by manifesting the negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds. What caused this? Well, you could probably guess what happened. Amy got reckless and paid the price for it. In her frenzied rage, Mimic was able to land a fatal blow to the pink hedgehog, causing Sonic to fully transform into the angry hedgehog you see now. Silver has been trying to calm Sonic, but it's clear his rage has consumed him. Knuckles attempts to help Amy to try and stop the bleeding, but the wound was too large. Knuckles begins to pray to his ancestors to see if they could help him. Shadow, meanwhile, hasn't been able to use his Chaos abilities, and has pivoted to calculated attacks against Mimic, but has to be very careful because Sonic has swung at him multiple times as he can't see clearly. On the egg carrier, Metal Sonic is recovered and upgrading, having a shard of the Phantom Ruby ingrained into his core, essentially giving him limitless power. Metal was sent out into the chaos to help. After all, he can't take over the world if there isn't a world to take over. Now for the B plot, the Chaotix. Charmy was picked up by Jet the frickin' Hawk, bringing him back to SBO because Charmy had gone out to search for Vector in the sewers or underground tunnel. I'd also like to point out something. The Mimic is trying to make Sonic lose sight of himself, and I can't help but to feel like if he continues to go down this path, it'll aid the Mimic. I know, kind of a basic statement. I know you already figured that out, but I do think that this is an interesting route to take. This, however, is where things really kick up. In the final confrontation, Sonic has taken Mimic's arm and continues in his rage for killing Amy. And the more Sonic gives in, the more power Mimic has to sap out of him. He's taken the positive energy and Sonic took the negative. As the fight goes on, he's able to steal more from Sonic. Silver has spent too much time in the past making his immunity wear off, so for once, he's actually able to get infected. Now, I'm not sure how it works, but it is a unique twist. To further this, Blaze left him with her flame, so now he gets a power-up, Psychokinesis and Flame. Hell yes. Metal is quickly approaching the island, and Tikal is getting a bit by infected Chow. She didn't want to attack the Chow, and that's really sad. Also cannot be good for the survivors. In better news, Tails is alive, and Eggman upgraded his blaster for him. Alright, I gotta say, Eggman, that's gonna suck if they end up winning this. Now it's the final frontier. Sonic had fought tooth and nail, but Mimic has won. He's gained all of the power of the Chaos Emeralds, both negative and positive. Sonic was now hopelessly drained, and Angel Island began to come crashing down out of the sky since the Master Emerald no longer had its previous power. As a side note, I really like that this thing grew its arm back. Well, kinda. It reminds me of Colossus now. It also has all the colors of the Chaos Emeralds in its eyes. Multiple eyes. Silver has infused himself with the flames of Blaze, giving him a new transformation called Molten Silver. Yeah, I can't lie, that's heat. Tikal and Chaos got infected because, yeah, they didn't do anything. They just they stood there and got bit, and that was that. Now the infection is spreading far and wide. Things are not looking too good for the heroes. Shadow has recovered Sonic, and he's pretty much a sitting duck because Chaos power isn't existent right now, at least not for him. Rouge informed the group that Gun has severed communication with her. The only hope that remains lies within the upgraded Metal Sonic and Silver, who continues to fight. Metal Sonic arrives to the scene fully upgraded and ready to surpass his other fake. Sonic may have had the weakness of emotion, being blinded by rage, but Metal Sonic is incapable of such things. Now Mimic has to face a cold, calculated machine with speed that surpasses Sonic in his base, with power to rival the gods. This is the final battle for Hope, and it falls into the hands of the superior lifeform, and that is what's currently available for the Mimic AU. It really sucks because I was hoping to see more and see the final battle, but I'm excited for its release. The AU tried different things than I was expecting, and the fact that it's up to Metal Sonic to save the world is crazy. Silver is there too, which I hope he does get his revenge, but he's limited in his power and how long he can last. I do like that he's infused with the power of Blaze and he gets a new transformation unrelated to the Chaos Emeralds, which is unique. Definitely well done by the creator. Go check it out. It's linked below. Subscribe and stay spooky.